Alright, hey guys, this is Ace Jet Pilot, and I am bringing you the first video to my series in EVE Online. Now, this series will pertain to tutorials and helping people who have just started this game understand not only the stuff that the game doesn't teach you, but also give maybe an easier way to learn it. Because for some people, reading just isn't that fun, it's boring, and that's the only way the game teaches you through is just reading and reading, and it's a lot. So, you probably have searched up ways to learn EVE Online and you have clicked my video, so I thank you for that. So let's get on to the first point. The first thing you're going to experience, the first thing that'll help you learn what to do, get a foundation. Now, I want to remind you that you probably shouldn't try to learn all this at once. Take time, make sure you really understand it. It is a lot of information. Don't expect yourself to understand all of this game at all or really fast, because not even I understand everything to this game. There are still things I struggle with. There's some things I do not yet know, and I've played this game for a year and a half now. There's just some things I have not learned yet. However, I do know the basics, which can help you get started and maybe get a head start from people who just try to go in with no help. So, you're in your hangar. You'll be given a ship based on whatever race you are, and doesn't matter. Here is your whole overview. Now, this overview probably looks different than yours. That's perfectly fine. I've adjusted it to my liking, and you can do the same. But here's a general thing that will typically help you no matter what you're in. You see how I have two separate chat windows? I have local up here, usually locals down here, all in one thing. Well, if you left click, hold, and pull up, you pull away, you get a separate tab, a separate chat window. Now the reason why I chose local is because it lets you see the people who are on in this system. And this will be more important for when you're in more dangerous space, so you'll know if people are dangerous or not. And to know if they're dangerous or not, if you have a run-in with them, if they try to attack you, if they're just jerks for whatever particular reason, you can mark them. Or if they're good people, not only if they're bad, but you can just right-click their name, hit add contact, and you can choose, the standing. If they're kind of neutral, you don't necessarily know what to think of them. If they're bad or they're absolutely terrible. You probably want to mark anyone who's out to kill you this. If someone helped you, if someone's been nice, if they're of no threat, maybe mark them excellent. But don't just mark everyone that you run into. Otherwise, you're going to have a really full contact list. So, as we should probably undock at this point. There's nothing much in the station that I can show you, except for this. You have a few things. Each station will be slightly different. Some don't have all these things, some do. This Noble Exchange, unimportant. This is just for like clothes, no one cares. Character customization, again, no one cares. Repair shop. Repair shop allows you to repair anything on your ship that's damaged. This would be anything that's armor or hull based. So I would have to undock to show you what that is. Reprocessing, if you have ore, from mining, you can reprocess that, turning into better materials. That you probably don't want to do right now because you don't have the efficiency to make it worthwhile. Regional market, this is where you can buy stuff. The tab's also on this side right here. And it'll always be here even when you're outside in space. This is where you buy stuff. This is your ship fitting, fit your ship. You can also do this in space as well. Well, you can't fit, but you can still view what your ship looks like. fitting will be a whole different tutorial. It's not that hard to understand, but you know, it will help. Now, science and industry will let you build stuff. This is if you're really going into building and industry stuff and researching blueprints. Now, this is beyond my field of expertise. I honestly don't know a single thing about science or industry. I just want to blow stuff up. So, this doesn't matter at all to me. However, if you are looking for science and industry, if this is what you're interested in, you're gonna have to look to other videos, because I can't honestly give out any information on this. Bounty office, you know, this is people who are wanted. You know, if you happen to run into these people and blow them up, you're gonna know a lot of cash. Faction warfare, this is only if you sign up for a militia. Currently I'm signed up with Galente Federation. You can sign up with any of the 4 you want to. Just remember, when you sign up with one, you also sign up for a second one. For Galente Federation, you get Mimitar and Kaldari and Amar ally with each other as well, so you can kind of work together with Mimitar pilots, or at least I can. Ship insurance, this is important. This is where you can insure your ship. You should always insure your ship to the maximum level. That's premium insurance. It is the most costly, but it gives the most payout. This should especially be done if you know there's a good chance you're gonna lose this ship. Loyalty store, if you do missions for a corporation, this one happens to be Core Complexions, you can turn it into stuff. You know, you can trade it in, sometimes with a little bit of ISK, and you can get really, really expensive stuff that you can go sell on the market for a lot of money. So, with that, let's undock. If you're wondering what this ship is, this is the Kestrel. It is a Kaldari frigate, Tech 1. Nothing advanced, but I do occasionally PvP with this kind of ship. Nice and cheap, good way to learn. So, we're now out in space. I have undocked, and this is where you're going to probably be spending most of your time if you're not doing industry. Now, a few points to notice. This number is where you are located in general in the space. The closer you are to the center, you are safer. You're not only safer, but you're also but you also have a few more rules to abide by. That'll be for a later discussion. However, this overview. Now, the overview for most people is probably one of the most confusing. It's not really intuitive. It's kind of sucky, honestly. Not much help. However, if you use it long enough, it grows on you. You can understand it. Now, you can see all this stuff in space. However, you can adjust to what you see. Like, this is a station. These are stargates. That was a ship. Looks like it was a Venture frigate. So, you can adjust this in your overview. You'll probably be set to default. Although, what am I on right now? Oh, this is my default. This is the default overview. This is what it's gonna look like. No, never mind. Let me load default. That's default, possibly for some people. Oh, general. Here we go. This will be generally what it looks like. However, I have my own custom one that I like. It looks exactly the same, except when I encountered in certain scenarios, things will pop up differently for me, or some things will not pop up. As you can see, I don't have any asteroid belts. You can modify everything you see by opening your overview settings. You right-click this little corner and open overview settings. And this will, by checking these boxes, will affect what you see. So you always want all the ships checked, obviously. You never know what's going to be after you. You should probably have stations and stargates checked, because I prefer to click something, and then when you click something, remember this pops up. in this selected item tab. Now based on what you click, it gives you an option what to do. Now for stations, you can obviously dock, warp to it. If you're at a Stargate, let's warp to a Stargate. Now you can just warp to it, but probably it'd be easier if you just intend to jump through immediately, just hit the jump button.
Warp drive active.
So it'll warp you to it at 0 and then jump. Now, when you jump, it'll obviously take you to the next system, and I always remember when I first started, I didn't know, how to necessarily navigate through what seems like a maze. Cause let me just show you this map now. Don't get too overwhelmed. I still look at this thing with awe, but if it'll load. It takes a bit to load. Don't click the map button by accident. You'll be stuck here. If you're in the middle of a fight, just not doing anything. But this is the maze of Stargates. Every line is a connection. Every single one. It's a lot. Now, like I said, high sec is right here, so I am specifically right here, I believe. How it says no. I wonder why it says Orbe, why it's highlighted like that. Oh, that's my region. That would make sense. See, stuff you learn by simply playing, you'll randomly run into. But the best way to navigate is through setting routes. Now, to set a route, you can have multiple things. You can, if someone links something to you like this is Mirthan, this is a location, hit set destination, and it'll set up a course. Now, it'll highlight the Stargate, and you just keep warping until you reach your destination. Just follow the highlighted, Stargate. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now, I don't want to go there because it's low sec, and I don't want to deal with that right now. So we're just going to ignore that route. I'm just going to close this. A few things to remember. You can actually affect your route by hitting A. You can type in the name of the system you want to go. It has to be at least 3 letters, so you can't spell out the whole thing. I know why. I can't always spell the system. Just type in the first 3 letters that you do know, and it will give you a list to choose from. Now, you can also affect how you get there. By hitting prefer shorter, you will get there a lot faster, but you'll go through more dangerous routes. It'll take you through anywhere. Null sec, low sec, space parts in space where you don't necessarily want to be, especially if you're in a big ship or you're in a vulnerable ship. You probably want to prefer safer, and that's on by default. That's the one that's going to be selected. Prefer less secure. That's mostly for people who are pirates or for some reason don't want to be in high sec. I don't know why, but if you want that, that will be your option as well. To dock back up here, that is generally it. That's all you necessarily need to know for your basic information of how to navigate. There's one thing I forgot, so I'm gonna have to undock again, unfortunately. But one thing to note, this way I'm showing you by clicking this stuff isn't always the main way to do it. You can also right click, and it'll right click in the middle of space and it'll pull up all this stuff. They'll show your asteroid belts, your planets, your stargates, your stations. How the typical way I mine is by right clicking, warping to this one. If this one's empty or I've used it all up, go down the list and go down the list and go down the list and continue that process. Planets, this could be used as a way to warp to something like to escape. Planets are used for planetary interactions. That'll also be later. Stargates, same as here. You can do the same thing. Stations, you have the same function as you do with these tabs.
Docking
It's just
control
based on your
requested.
preference.
Docking requested.
But in general, guys, that is the majority of things you need to know to get started, to navigate around, to, get things to just be able to move around fluently, because that's the first step. Being able to move around and interact and explore is a huge part to EVE Online. Especially as a newbie, you want to go kind of see around things, but just do so with care. You know, I will add in one little detail. This is a rule that everyone should generally follow, and that is don't fly what you can't afford to lose. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have a ship and you want to buy a new ship, and you just barely get enough money for it. Just barely. And you buy it. Now, sure, you have your ship, but you gotta remember, in EVE, it's very unforgiving. You die, it doesn't care. It really doesn't care. It won't give you a new ship unless you're in the newbie ship like a Velator or Ibis. I can't remember the other two, but it'll always give you a rookie ship. You'll never be without a ship, but you never want to be reduced to having to use a rookie ship. You never want to be so badly out of money that you have to go back to using a Velator again, because there's honestly more viable ways to make money than that. There can be mission running, ratting, which is going into belts and killing the pirates, the NPC pirates, and not the real pirates. They'll kill you. But um, you can do that. There's a series of ways to make money. The game does actually do pretty decent in explaining those basic ways to start. So never take a ship and then make a massive risk with it. Don't don't buy a ship, use all your money, and then just you could lose it. I mean, always have that in your mind, like, what happens if I lose this ship right now? What will I do? How will I deal with it? Always have a plan, always have a backup. Always, consider that possibility, because if you don't, you're going to wind up pretty pissed off, for one. Losing a ship is never fun, no matter how long you've played. But also, just have a plan B. That's the main point. Have a plan B. No matter how far you go up there, no matter how skilled you think you are, always consider what will happen if you lose the ship by whatever circumstance. And if you do that, you'll remain pretty safe. You'll be able to deal with the majority of challenges, and a lot of the challenges involve loss, risk, and reward. Always remember that. Weigh your risk for the potential reward, and if it's worth it. If you find it worth it, go for it. But also remember what you have to lose. Always consider that as a possibility. So in any case, fly safe out there, guys, and that's it.